Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Thompson, and I'm excited to be interviewing Bethany Crawford today. Bethany Crawford and I met back in 1985. We attended the same college and became friends through some of the same activities. We later worked together for about 10 years, and together with our spouses, we just have established a lifelong friendship. We've done a lot of fun things together. Bethany and her husband, Mark, live in Jacksonville, Florida, and we recently were able to visit in their home, and they have a delightful family and a delightful home. And Bethany, one of my favorite memories is you and Mark showing Sonia and I how to navigate downtown Atlanta. Do you remember that all those years ago?
Yes, I do. I remember we left a souvenir down there too.
I think my son's shoe ended up in the MARTA somewhere.
Somewhere, probably there still.
Well, anyway, I count you among my dearest friends, and I've always just admired the way that you think and the way that you inspire people around you. And I know recently we were having a little contest to see who had the most Facebook friends between the two of us.
You won. You won.
I edged you out by 10 or 12, I think, but I think any introduction of you would have to include the fact that you've been blessed to impact a lot of people just, through being a professor in the speech communications area, acting and so forth, and a lot of people have crossed your path, and you've impacted a lot of lives. So, we have to say that with any introduction of you. But anyway, thank you for joining me for the interview. I'm excited to just kind of find out what you're doing and really kind of hone in on this fully alive life that we've talked about recently.
Right. Well, a few years ago, it became a real passion of mine. I saw the quote, the glory of God is man fully alive, or a human fully alive. And it really resonated with me at the time because I was really, really looking for something that was genuine, that was authentic. And so I think I've always sort of been on that quest. I call myself an optimistic realist. I don't see myself as someone who has an idealistic view of the world. But at the same time, I'm very optimistic. I'm very hopeful. I believe, of course, my faith is very strong, and so I believe that that God has a purpose and a plan for everything that happens in our lives. So, with that, I would teach that with that philosophy. I would teach acting. I would teach performance. Everything I did had that sort of mindset going for it. So a few years ago, when I did hear that quotation, I was like, yes, yes, yes. That is where I want my whole focus of life to be. I want to live a life that is fully alive, that isn't hindered by guilt, that isn't hindered by shame, that isn't hindered by all of these things that I think we humans put on each other. And I wanted to live in the light of God's glory, God's grace, His mercy, His truth. And so all of that sort of kind of culminated in a variety of different ways. But it was very, very frustrating for me because I felt personally like I was still not living fully alive. And a lot of that, crazy, I mean, we are a whole being, so we cannot disregard that. We are mind, we are body, we are soul, it's all of that. So my mind was busting with these ideas. My soul was full. My body was absolutely just dragging along with the rest of it. And so we knew we had to do something physically. We knew we had to get that third element to be part of the other two. And when we saw last summer that you had really started taking your health in hand, we called you up and we said, "What are you doing? We need this." And I don't think that you can be fully alive until you do have all three components working in perfect harmony. And so when we were able to get our bodies in good shape, when we were able to start feeling good again and healthy, oh, that mental clarity, the fog was gone. It just clarified everything. It made it all make sense. And so yeah, I guess I am sort of on a little bit of a mission now, because before I was passionate, yes, about the whole idea of being fully alive in the spiritual, in the emotional sense. But it's more than just understanding it spiritually. It's also understanding it physically. And I feel like you have to teach the whole package. And so that's where I am. That's been, you know, and the beautiful thing is finding a system, thank you, Dave, very much, finding a system that I believe fits hand in glove with that whole philosophy, and has allowed me to develop personally even more, and gives you the energy, you know, gives you the again, like I said, the mental clarity. That was the first thing I noticed, was the fog was gone. The mental clarity was so wonderful. So I could just ramble on, but we'll leave it at that for now.
Sure. Thank you. I love that, because I hadn't heard you say before that this body piece was sort of a missing piece for you, and I knew that you had enjoyed the products and that they had made some great impact for you. But so as far as being fully alive, you would say that mentally you feel like you were there, spiritually, or for your soul's benefit. You are on a journey, of course. I know you don't feel like you've arrived anywhere, but you feel like you definitely had a path that you were headed down, and this final piece of getting the body to be able to keep up with the mind and the spirit is really where you are. Did I state that correctly?
It is, and the other thing too is that, you know, I don't want my ministry, if you want to call it a ministry, I don't know. I don't want my purpose in life to just end because my body can't hold up to it anymore. You know, I want to be able to share this for as long as I can. And so in order to do that, I have to take care of this temple. I have to take care of what God's given me. So, yeah.
You've used a couple of words here. You've used share and you've used teach. And I know you've had a career as a teacher. That sounds like that's something that's deep within you. Like that's really kind of who you are. Would you say that every time you learn something else, every time you experience something that's great, one of your first reactions is to share it or to learn how to teach it?
You know, I think I do. It is for me specifically, but I do think, though, that I think that's in every human being. I think we all want to, when something has happened great for us, oh, I've got to tell you about this. You won't believe what just happened. Or, oh my goodness, this was a great thing. So I feel like that is a natural response. Of course, the teaching side of me means that I'm going to research it. It means that I'm going to dig in deep. I want to find out why this is ticking the way it does. So, you know, when I started with the company Isogenics, I really had to dig. I needed to know. I wanted to know about the leadership. I wanted to know about the products. I wanted to know about it all. And I had to dig in there. The hardest piece of that whole equation was me, that I didn't feel like I was good enough to share it. And it was crazy. I had to get past that. I had to get way, way past that, and I am. But it was one of those things where I finally had to say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good I am. And it goes back. It's like the gospel. It doesn't matter how good I am. It has to do with what I'm sharing. What I'm sharing is amazing. So I feel like now I have, you know, one is the gospel I can share, but then also this wonderful product I can also share, and that's just thrilling. And then also, you know, Shakespeare and acting and all too. I could just share that too.
Of course. Of course. So if I came to you and I said, Bethany, I love this. I dig what I hear you say about being the fully alive life. I would like to get there. Is that something that you feel like you could coach me through, or how would you proceed with that? Would you just invite me to to join you on this journey, and how would we navigate that?
Well, I think first of all, and I've really prayed about that, because you asked me if I, about coaching you. That is one of the things that's kind of on my heart right now to kind of consider. So I think the Lord has kind of brought that to my heart. But I think I'd probably start asking you a lot of questions. I think I'd start asking you, what is it you want? What do you believe God wants for you? What is it that excites you most? What is it that you feel like, if you weren't hindered by finances or health or whatever, that you would get out and do right now if you could? I would ask you these things, because I feel like that is what hinders a lot of us, is human limitations. And I think we so often believe that God can't do something in our lives because of where we are right now. And that's a shame, because if God has something for you and He's laid that on your heart, He's going to provide a way for you to do it. It's just a matter of you finding it and you looking for it. And I think half the time we don't even look for it. So I think probably I would start by asking a lot of those questions. I think, too, I would also look at, where you are physically. I think that is such a is one of those things that I think in many camps in our our background, Dave, especially, it has kind of been they don't talk about it. They don't want to go there. They don't want to go into the whole physical. You need to stay healthy physically in order to be effective spiritually. And it's unfortunate, because there's a lot of dear good people that are dying from being obese or from whatever, and their effectiveness is being limited to physical ailments. And that breaks my heart. And I think it's a stronghold that Satan knows he can use, unfortunately. So I would say, you've got to take care of your health. You're going to have to. That's huge. Depressed people, for instance, a lot of times they will be given advice that you need to get on medication in order to be able to start thinking clearly, in order to be able to get healthy. I don't love that. I get it. I don't love it, but I understand what they're saying. And so I feel like in this case, this is an alternative method to getting healthy, to getting your brain awake again, so that you can think clearly, so that you can start getting back to that fully alive life. So to me, it's all part of the whole picture. You cannot leave it out.
I'm getting a little just an idea here, but I think there are probably hundreds of people who would welcome those questions, because for somebody, for somebody like yourself who's skilled enough to ask those questions, to guide somebody to something, and given the Isagenix compensation system, this is something that you could really offer those services really free of charge, couldn't you? I mean, as long as somebody was interested enough to make the investment in their own health, with Isagenix would basically pay you to be a coach, right, for any number of people. So I don't know. I'm just kind of excited about that for you. I can really see that. I could see that being something. But let me circle back. You said, hey, I would ask questions, and those questions would be, what do you want? What do you like? And I'm having these, I'm having a little post-traumatic stress issue here. Like, aren't you supposed to be asking, what does God want me to do? And I know that you and I have a similar enough background that you know what I'm talking about. It's like we sow. Well, I'll let you explain, because I want to hear your view of it.
Well, we hear the verse, God will give you the desires, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and He will give you the desires of your heart. What we've very often thought is, okay, He's going to give me this whole new set of, I know when I was little, He's going to make me go to Africa, And, but if that had been truly what God wanted for me, that would have been my desire. And so I feel like what we misunderstand, and we've heard it told us 100 times, God will give you, when you trust Him, He will give you the desires of your heart. So I think sometimes we rebel and we get angry with God because we're afraid. It all comes back to fear. We're so afraid of what He might give us. Whereas what He planned, He made us, He formed us. What He planned to give us is going to be the most perfect thing we could ever want. So when I say, what do you want? It's very often that these desires have been put there by God. If you had asked me when I was 28 years old, what do you want? I would have said, I want a baby. If you'd asked me when I was 30, I would have said, I want a baby. If you'd asked me when I was 31, I would have said, I want a baby. But by the time I got to about 30, I said, okay, Lord, here are my desires. If this is not what you want, take the desire away from me. Take it away. He never took it away. But it was clear that I needed to be the mommy too. So it was when it was the right time, He gave me the baby that I needed and that needed me. So it was perfectly timed, even though, you know, at the time I was fighting it and frustrated. But, you know, it's interesting because next month I'm going out to San Diego, and I get to see a student that I got to pour into as a teacher before I was able to become a mother. And so I get to now meet up with that student. I wouldn't have been able to pour into that student if I had been a mom and had been at home and not been teaching. So it's all a matter of, you know, God's timing. He gives you the desires, and He will keep those desires intact until you find the way, or you totally just given up to Him and trusted Him that He's going to do it. So I think when I ask someone, what excites you? What is it you want to do? I think we're so afraid to say what we want to do because either we think it's not possible, or we think it's something that may seem so selfish or self-indulgent. But really, it's probably just what God wants for you. And so I think that's the really cool part.
Let me ask you this as a follow-up, and you may not have an answer or an opinion, but what is it that clouds, what plays into clouding our awareness of our own desires? Because I think for me, growing up that way, I faced a lot of years where I didn't even know what desires I had. I don't think that I have ever even allowed myself to ask that question, and that muscle atrophied, and I didn't even know how to answer it.
I don't have a hard and fast answer for that one. I think that's a great mystery. I do think, though, that I think a lot of it is it does take practice. Dreaming takes practice, just like anything else. I think it takes, you know, you decide, okay, all right, I want to do this. And I'll tell you this, I had a dream 2 years ago, and I thought it was a good one. It was a really great dream, and it was exactly what I thought I wanted. And I realized just recently, and I even told this to you when you were down visiting, I don't want that dream anymore. That dream was something that I felt like I needed, but I don't. It's really not my dream anymore. It has morphed into something else. So, you know, what it really was, I think part of that was just beginning to get my dreaming muscles going. And when I finally started getting them going, then it was like, no, I really don't want that. I really don't. I really want this. And you know what? Next year, that may have changed. But that's okay, because I'm still in the process of going towards a dream. And it hasn't stopped that pursuit. And like you said, it is a journey. We're never going to get to the end. And that's the exciting part, is that we don't get to the end. There's no end to it. It's a constant, oh, I get to meet that person at that next rest stop, or oh, I get to see this, and oh, look, there's something else around the corner. If we got to the destination, how boring is that? So, you know, we may get to part of the destination, and we'll just keep going and digging a little further. Oh, you know, we're here now, so what's past that hill now? Let's just keep on going around the bend. So I feel like dreams are organic. They're going to continue to grow, and they're going to continue to change. But if you don't get used to it, if you don't start, you'll never know. And you'll just end up fulfilling somebody else's dream. Or you'll just end up doing you know, what was expected of you, which is what I did for a very long time. I did what was expected of me. So I feel like, yeah, I think being fully alive is being aware, is being is practicing these new dream muscles, this awareness of what you could do, what is around the next bend, you know.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, what great books or podcasts or other media have you experienced lately that you would recommend to our viewers?
Well, you know, it's interesting right now. I'm reading a really, really good book. My sister and I started reading it, and I'll be honest, I'm going to be totally transparent. I wanted to throw the book across the room several times while reading it, but it's The Power of a Praying Wife, and that's a fantastic book, and I just cannot tell you how life-changing it's been for me in just the last few days from just even starting to read it. And it's going to be one of those that I'm going to probably read a little bit of every day for the rest of my life. Of course, a lot of the things that I like right now is The Power of Vulnerability with Brene Brown. I like. I read a book recently, and I don't know. I'm kind of tentative when I recommended it. You recommended it to me. It was called Choose Yourself, and of course, I have to weed out the parts that I don't, agree with or whatever. But it was really, really interesting to read about how many of the decisions we make, we do it because we want to have some sort of an elevated view. We want people to see us as good people because we've made this particular choice. And again, that is so wrong because it's still a narcissistic kind of view of what you choose to do. You're still doing it because you want man's approval. Whereas if you choose yourself, and again, it goes back to what God wants for us. Choose the things that I've given you. When you choose yourself, you find there's great joy, there's great happiness and fulfillment. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm reading through right now. Oh, and some fiction, some classic fiction that I like Thomas Hardy. So.
I don't read fiction, but I don't read much at all. I mostly listen, but I have that wonderful app on my phone, the audiobooks app. And I'm reading one that you've got. If you haven't read the Firestarter Sessions, you will love it. You will absolutely love it.
Okay. Good.
So I'm just reading that right now. Okay, so we got to bring this thing to a close, but this, a lot of people think of isogenics as weight loss, and you really haven't mentioned weight loss at all. What you got excited about was this clarity of mind, this energy. So, I mean, talk to me about what are the solutions that obviously weight loss is a solution, and I know that because I've lost weight, but share with your friends who will be viewing this what those are.
Okay, well, the two that excite me the most are the, I think it's the energy and performance. Now, again, when I say energy and performance, a lot of people think, oh, you work out every day, you're, muscle builder, and I'm not at all. But I do love the energy. I do love the mental clarity that I've received from this. I love knowing that I'm getting good nutrition. I love how it's helped my son, who is borderline autistic. I love how he gets good nutrition. The kid that loves, macaroni and cheese, pizza, and popcorn, that's about it. That's all he'll eat. I love that I can get good nutrition in him. So for me, those are huge. I love it that my husband is getting nourished and that he's getting some weight off, and that's really nice. I also love the fact that, and some people have seen a before and after picture of mine, I love how it's helping me age backwards. And having just turned 50, that's huge. That's really important to me. So the other solution being, of course, healthy aging, and it helps with that. And then, of course, I like the wealth creation, and this is going to be the vehicle, the tool that I believe I can help a lot of people with, and that's going to help our family, and that's going to make those dreams come true for sure.
I have no doubt. Because you're too free-spirited to be chained to the classroom for very much longer. So I feel sorry for the students that won't get to have you as a teacher, but we gotta break you free and get you a little more wireless. But in conclusion, I have to tell you,
there's always online classes.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to call it the Fully Alive Life Coaching
Yes.
opportunity here. I see it as huge, and I hope that something comes of that. But I've got to close by telling you that I made your shake recipe for my dad this morning.
Yes.
He's an Isogenics user. He's actually 72 years old, and he had his shoulder, his rotator cuff surgery, and so the doctor told him, you need some really great protein to have this heal quickly and well. And so he called me and said, what do you have for protein? And I said, boy, what do I have for protein? So that was months ago. He fell in love with the isogenic shakes and won't go without them. Well, I just bumped it up a level this morning with that Reese's Peanut Butter Cup chocolate shake that you showed me how to make. And just disclaimer, it does not have Reese's Peanut Butter Cups in it. But Bethany would be happy to share that recipe with anybody who wants it, and it is truly amazing. Only I used honey instead of stevia, and it was excellent.
Good, yeah, that's great. That's great.
We even had the big thick straws that we were supposed to have, so it was great all the way around.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview. I always enjoy talking to you, and I'm always inspired and uplifted. Any closing words that you have? I mean, I love this. If somebody wanted to engage you as a Fully Alive life coach, would you have any bandwidth for that at the moment?
Oh yeah, we could do that for sure. I would love that. That would thrill me. So I would love to help out. And of course, you know, that's one of my dreams, is to be able to help people, and to do it for a while. You know, a long while. So.
Oh yeah, you've got another 50 years in you, easy.
Let's hope so.
All right. Well, give my love to Mark and Clay and Claire, and we will, I'm sure, be texting and messaging along the way. It's great to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, Dave. I've enjoyed this.
Wonderful.